TV with Don Allen III Live. Today, I'm going to show you how I built this technique using World Labs and Adobe After Effects. It is a mixture of AI and traditional VFX and traditional animation. I'll be showing you all the steps in the process, as well as every tool that I use and all the plugins. This is the kind of the result. You get this really cool effect. So what you can see is this technology is called a Gaussian splat, and I'm going to show you how I built this using World Labs and Adobe After Effects. It's not as hard as it looks, but it's also extremely powerful technique. I used one paid plugin, and I paid for a subscription to World Labs, so I guess 2 paid things. Oh, and then I paid for After Effects. Okay, so 3 paid things. But this is a way you can combine stuff. And I have new footage that I just shot outside, and I want to show you how I would go about even adding like my hands in front of the footage like this. I'm going to show you all those steps. So happy Thanksgiving. I want to give back to the community by sharing. This video went kind of viral online, so a lot of people were really curious about how I made this. And I figured, let me show you how I did that. All right, so you can see widescreen here. Maybe I'll go a little bit closer like that, or maybe I'll go a little bit wider while I talk to camera. All right, so I'm going to pause that, or actually no, I'll just mute it. So first things first, we got a few different apps that were used. The first one is called World Labs. I'll zoom into the logo right here. So World Labs, what are they all about? They have a lot of really fantastic technology, but the one they just announced literally like a week and a half ago is a product called Marble by World Labs. So I use Marble by World Labs, and the way it works is it's pretty nuts. I gave it this image that I generated with AI, and what it gives you is a full 3D world. I'm going to click into this to show you what I'm talking about. This is all generated. Now, you might have seen this kind of view before. It looks like an HDRI map, a high dynamic range image. But this is way more than an HDRI map. This is actually a world. If I hold the W key, I can go through it. I can go around and behind the image. I can go around and behind and back of stuff. Look at this. It's almost like a video game. And if I hold shift, I can kind of like sprint through it. So that video was me exploring through this Gaussian splat. A Gaussian splat is a new kind of technology that lets you create these kind of Gaussian blurs on a point cloud in space. And the result is you have a whole 3D world that is very explorable. And I'll move up out of it. Look at this. This is what the splat looks like from outside of the universe. So that's the kind of file that we're exploring. But you see, this is only half the battle. So once you have the Gaussian splat, you also need to animate the camera. Because again, look at my video. We're in there, right? So I have it animate on. Then I show me using my hand to kind of control the amount of parameters and how dense the splats are, how the particles form, right? So how do we get this into After Effects? That comes into the next tool. It's a paid plugin by a person named iRealix, spelled IRREALIX. The plugin that I downloaded is called Gaussian Splatting. Gaussian Splatting is the technology that we're using, and this allows us to load that file from World Labs into Adobe After Effects. Once it's in Adobe After Effects, that means we can treat it like any other motion graphics work. We can animate cameras, we can add compositing workflows, we can add our sound design and any kind of other 3D effects that we want. That's where the magic happens. So before we get too much further into the tutorial, those are the 2 tools you're absolutely going to need. It's the Marble plugin, the Marble tool by World Labs, and then I'll show you another one. So I made this other one. Again, generated this with AI, and then it created an entire 3D world that allows us to move a camera through it. And I love that you can get like behind stuff and like go around the bushes. I mean, this is just such a powerful technology, right? So let's do it again. And then again, we have iRealix, the plugin, and then we're in After Effects. So here's actually that project file. I just want to show you how genuinely flexible this technique is. So I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit so you see a little bit about my Adobe After Effects workflow. If we go into the footage here, what you're going to see is the composition on the right side of the screen. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And what I would do is kind of manipulate that Gaussian splat. For example, one of the parameters I control is called the density. So look at that. Just by changing that density slider, we can show and hide that Gaussian splat and even keep it like really light. When it's really light like this, it kind of has like a almost like a hologram kind of a interface to it. So World Labs, yes, if you pay for it. Sorry, if you pay for World Labs, they let you download. If you don't, you can generate stuff, but they won't let you download your splat. This is the file formats, by the way. So you go to download, and then these are all of the formats they let you download, and it's pretty insane. The one that you're going to need is this. I think Splat's not that one. That one. The Splats PLY is the one that I downloaded. That lets me actually bring that into Adobe After Effects. And what's really cool is they also give you a collider mesh. So if you want to bring these into Cinema 4D, Blender, Maya, Unreal Engine, you could basically have like a collision map that is aligned to that splat so you can have characters walking on that world and they won't fall through the ground. So those two things alone are just insanely useful and powerful. But you'll need the Splat PLY. It takes about 1 to 5 minutes to download or to generate. So let's go ahead and let's make something, right? Let's go ahead and make something. So, question to the audience: what do you want us to work on today? What world should we generate? And it might help if I show you the footage I'm going to be putting it onto. So here is the footage that I just shot, and this is the new shot that we're going to do. I filmed it with my smart glasses on purpose so that I could have both my hands free and available. And here's the footage. So that's the shot, and I'm going to have to rotoscope my hands so that they are in front. And then we're going to 3D track the scene in After Effects so we know where the camera movement is. But then after that, you see when I do that swipe gesture, I want to swipe to different worlds. So my question to you is, what world should we generate? So if this is like, this is me walking in a park, I'm going to transform this to literally anything you can imagine. And I'll use hand gestures to kind of like make it look like a futuristic user interface. Obviously, Thanksgiving land. The only thing is it might, if I post today, I don't know how fast I'll be able to make it. It might go out of date very soon. So it is Thanksgiving, today, but it might take me a little bit longer to get this video out. So I need something that is a little bit more evergreen than Thanksgiving land. But I do like that suggestion from the person named IDEO MORPHIC on Instagram. I will read out loud your comments and your names because this live stream is going to be saved so that people can reference it later, and it will be helpful if they know. So thank you for that. But I don't want to do a thing that's going to get dated too quickly. Think of things that are a little bit more evergreen. So I'm walking in this land, and then when I do this gesture, I'm going to load one like a small object and then push it out, and then it fills the whole, it's going to fill the whole world right? So what suggestions do you have? Oh, an Emerald City. That's what I love. That's from Benna Bergel, spelled, oops, sorry, I bumped the tripod. Benna's name spelled BENABERGELL. Thank you so much. You got it. Emerald City. Let's do this. So how am I going to do this? My first step is you could either go to Midjourney or other AI tools out there, or you could draw, or you could photograph, or you can Google search. Lots of different options. What I'm going to do is there's a new tool that I love using called Nano Banana Pro. It lets you generate really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to go to Gemini by Google, and we're going to make a new chat. Great. All right, we're in a new chat environment. We're going to go to create an image. And now I pay for Gemini as well, so let's go ahead and start off. Imagine a description of an emerald city. Oh, my microphone's not plugged in. Oh, got it. Okay. Imagine a description of an emerald city. All right, so let's go. Oh, I don't want to load up images. Let's go ahead and load that. All right, the Emerald City rose from the plains like a jewel-encrusted dream. It spires piercing the clouds with a dazzling verdant glow. Every building, from the grandest palace to the smallest dwelling, was constructed with a material that shimmered with the deepest, most vibrant shades of green, as if it was carved from colossal emeralds. Bridges arched gracefully over canal fields. Canals filled with water that reflected the city's brilliance, making it seem as though the very rivers flowed with you liquid. That looks great. Oh, great question. I'm showing the whole process of how I made that Gaussian splat video with World Labs. That's my Thanksgiving gift to the audience. So I'm showing you how I did that. For context, this is what I'm showing how to build. We're going to do a brand new one. I'm showing every step I did to kind of make this. And I've listed all the plugins and all the tools that I'm using to make it. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you through that process. And it's using Adobe After Effects, a plugin called iRealix by Gaussian Splatting. And we're using World Labs for this thing. And now we're also using Nano Banana Pro to generate this world. So I usually start off by creating this paragraph description. And then I'll say, great, let's go ahead and generate that image in a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now, it's getting to work. It's going to try to generate that world. Have you coded any After Effects plugins? Of course, I love coding plugins in After Effects. All right, this one's pretty cool, but I want to make some tweaks. The main one is I want to kind of be at a person's perspective. So let me give it that note. This looks pretty great, but I have one note for you, and that is we need to see the same environment, but from the perspective of somebody walking on that bridge. We need to be at the eye level of a human. This camera angle looks like it's captured from a drone. We don't want that. We want to see this from an eye level. Thank you so much. So with that note, we send it back, and you can be very conversational with Nano Banana Pro. This allows you to have that flexibility when you're creating. It understands conversationally what you're talking about. The better you are at communicating with your words, the better you are going to be at designing stuff. Now, how hilarious is that? That made no change whatsoever. So I'm just going to let it know. Nope, that's not correct. That looks like the same image. We need to see this from the perspective of somebody that's on the bridge. All right, let's try that again. If that doesn't work, we can always load in a reference image. Oh yeah. So the next thing we are doing is just kind of getting that first image made. Worst case scenario, I might load that same prompt into Midjourney. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's having some trouble. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this prompt and I'm gonna load this into Midjourney for the images. And then just kind of load that in. I just wanna see what Midjourney's brain would think about. There's also another model that came out called Flux Pro or something. So I might try that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look. Emerald City. I'm also going to switch this ratio to portrait and make it kind of like a 3:4 aspect ratio and run that again. All right, that's closer to the angle that I want, but it's not the quality that I would like. So let's see if we can tweak some settings here. I'm going to set this to maybe a different version of Midjourney, maybe version 6. And run that. How about this? All right, so let's take a step back. Can you give me a text prompt that describes what it would look like if you were standing on that pathway? Same environment, same world, but you're at the eye level of a person. I just want a long text description. This is another trick, is to kind of get it to generate. Let me see the Flux version. All right, so that is the new prompt. And I'll say, use that prompt and generate a new image. Or, you know what I'll do? Sometimes just throwing this into a new chat thread on Gemini kind of gets the thing that I need. So let me try that. And then I'll just say tools, create image, and make that happen. Let me see what Flux would look like with that same prompt. So I'm going to go to my Higgs field tool for image generation. And I'm going to go to their image models. There's image. I'm going to go to Flux 2. And I'm going to give it my prompt. And then generate it and see what we get with some of that. Give it a couple of generations. Cool. So we're going to get a sample from Flux Pro just so we see the options, the versatility. All right, that's looking really cool. that's more aligned with what I had in mind for this Emerald City. That one's kind of like very much the energy. This one's also very much energy. So I'm going to save this image and just kind of save this into my downloads. And I'm going to bring that into Gemini. Okay, there we go. Now this is looking, take a look. This is looking a lot more like what I'm looking for. Sometimes it gets stuck with the memory, so you can create a new chat. Yes, that is the way forward. Don't know why it's not letting me preview this in full screen though. Come on, come on, come on. Please. Weird. All right, let me just download it then. There we go. And we'll just save that to downloads. Great. Let's preview it there. All right, now that actually looks really good. Love this world. Only thing I might want to change, I might want to remove all the people. So let me try to prompt that out with Google. So love this image. I just have two edits. One is it needs to be ultra wide. And second, no people should be there. It's just the architecture and the environment, nothing else. So hopefully that gets it out of its kind of that loop, that memory loop. Let's see how Flux is doing. All right, Flux actually came up with a pretty good take on that as well. Not gonna lie, I think that's, oh wow, that one's really pretty. Wow, love those giant flowers. Definitely a fan of that. Okay. Geez, all these are looking really good out of Flux. Let's take a look. So that's Flux. Let's switch the model to, we got some Seedream. I'm gonna try Seedream. It's another AI model, another AI image model. We're also gonna switch this into, let's say, Nano Banana again, Nano Banana Pro Unlimited. Let's try that. And then let's even just switch it into Sora and just see what that does. So we'll go to GPT image generation. Just see what that does. So the first one's going to be a different AI model company. It's basically 3 different AI model companies' image models. So we'll see what kind of works the best. Interesting. Seedream is not bad. I love this one. That one's pretty cool. A little blurry for some reason. Oh, there it goes. It's just a loading artifact. That one's really, really cool. And I love the emerald lighting. Looks really, really magical. And those flowers are great. Oh, we're stuck. Let me refresh the page. And then we got Nano Banana Pro. Looking pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. I like how it got the hand in there. It gets the idea of the first person shot. Love these emeralds on the walkway. That's really, really cool. That might be my favorite so far. I'm going to download this one from Seedream. Just save that. Let's go back to Gemini. Awesome. It did a good job at conversationally understanding what my ask was, which was to remove the people. And it looks like it totally did that. So next thing, I'm going to hit download and save that image. Now I'm going to say, now make this 4K resolution and 16 by 9. I think it can do any aspect ratio. I'm not allowed to publicly say what my favorite models are. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say it on record. You'll just have to follow my actions. All right, so we have that one. Looks good. All right, so with this image, I'm really happy with the way that one came out. What I like to do is then run it through a tool called Magnific. Magnific is an AI upscaler tool that I pay for as well. You can take your images in there and up-res them significantly. So like, for example, look at the before and after here with the tool. Like, look at that. Look what it did with the water. Like, before, after, before, after. And it's been a really powerful tool. So let's go ahead and bring in our best images from the whatever model we're using. And oh, sorry, I put them in downloads. There's the downloads folder. Great, and then let's say we got this one, this one, this one, and this one. I think that one is great. All right, so we're gonna load this one from Gemini, and then we're going to click upscale. And you can upscale this a lot. I'm gonna do it to 4 times the scale, and click on upscale. We're also gonna take that same image and go to the precision model. This one is another upscaler that they have, but what it does is it will not hallucinate anything. It will only preserve the upscale perfectly. I like to just see both. So this one right here is the creative upscaler, and then this one up here is the precision upscaler. And so creative is going to add a few more details that weren't originally there, which might help. And then this one is not going to add any more details. It's going to adhere to exactly what we gave it. We got a question from IDEO Morphic, says, does the aspect ratio matter? I find that it does if you want to give it more context of like what the image should look like. So it helps like teach it, but you're going to get good results either way. Let's take a look. We zoom in. How's it doing? Oh yeah, so this adds a lot more detail. I think the most important detail with this workflow is you must have an extremely high resolution image to get the most effects. But yeah, this one's looking pretty good to me. Let's see what else we got over here. Oh wow, yeah, look at all that detail it added to the bridge, for example. Like that's super useful. The more detail you add, the better the Gaussian splat will come out. So that one's looking really good. Let's see, is this one better? This one's the creative upscaler, where it adds, kind of hallucinates more details. I actually think the other one looks a little bit higher resolution to me. So I'm gonna go with that one. Great. So we're gonna take it and download it. I'll download it as a JPEG, and I'll just save it to my downloads, rename it, ready. Next, we're going to bring this into World Labs, which is going to transform that 2D image into an explorable 3D world. To do that, we go to World Labs under Marble. The tool I'm at is called marble.worldlabs.ai. And then we go to Create. And if you pay for their service, you can go into an upload. And I will then grab the image that we like and hit open. You can also create images in here, but I genuinely find it best to make the image first and then bring it in. And then you can click on Create. And now it's in the queue. And so World Labs is going to get to work at turning this 2D image into a fully explorable 3D world. Like genuinely 3D world. I've been exploring other ways of doing this. So here's another example. This is one that started off from a 2D image, right? And then it creates this entire 3D world that we can push through. And I just think what's so remarkable is you can go behind things. Like see how we're behind this like cement structure. But like there was never, the photo I gave it never had the information of what was behind anything. It didn't know what this world looked like from above. Yet World Labs understands the persistence of a world, and it keeps all of that in mind. So this is all a Gaussian splat that you can explore. And with that plugin, what I shared with After Effects, we got a question from Benna Berg, says, how accurate is Marble in the image to world process? Any tips? Yes, the number one tip is detail. If you give it an extremely high resolution image with upscale details, you're gonna get a much more detailed world. When I've given it a low res image, it has to hallucinate a lot more of what it thinks the 3D world looks like. When you give it a very high resolution image, it thinks it has to hallucinate less. Second, they have an option now, if you pay for their service, I think you can upload up to, let me see what was the number. I think you can upload up to 8 images of a single world, and it will like stitch it together, kind of like photogrammetry, but more hallucinated. It will imagine stuff. Can this be published into VR easily? Yes, I think Meta has a plugin for previewing Gaussian splats in headset. I think Apple Vision Pro might have one as well. So then in a sense, you could literally explore these worlds, like walk through them. Oh, your name is Ben. Sorry. I apologize that. Ben Don. Sorry about that. So yes, you can provide multiple reference images. So that might be a great thing to try. So we have this one that's being generated with just that image, right? The first image we gave it, and it's generating. What I'm now going to do is go back to Google Gemini and say, can you give me an aerial wide angle of this same environment? Just a different angle. And what this should do is give us another image. Oh, and Ideomorphic says Brad. Their name's Brad. So Brad and Ben, thank you so much for being here. And I see Aisha just joined us. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so look at that. We got a new angle of this environment. That's pretty neat. I'm going to download it and save it. And then I'm going to say, great, now can we see what's directly off to the left that's out of frame? Can you draw that image? Essentially, I'm using a world model to kind of like generate different perspectives and angles of this imaginary place. And then we're going to see if when we load all these images back into World Labs, if it makes for a better image. And my guess is it's going to work, but let's just see what happens. I'm not going to go and up-res all of them, although that would be better. But now let's go inside one of the buildings and see what it looks like inside there. So you can really just describe stuff. Aicha says, amazing. This would be great to use in-game development, at least quick prototyping. Yeah, I mean, you can do quick prototyping, but I feel like you'll be able to do more than quick prototyping pretty soon, you know? Like, oh, wow, look at that environment. Let's go ahead and download that. So this time, I'm not going to up-res the images. I'm going to go right back to World Labs and go to the Create. And this time, we're just going to drag all 4 of those images in that represent different angles of this alleged environment, right? So we've got this side angle, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to load those 3 images in to start. Oh, look at that. You can actually label what part of the world this is in. I've never tried this before, so that's brand new to me. I would say this is the front. This is the front. And then this one looks kind of like the top, but there's not really a top. So I guess you could do a front, back, right, or left view. I'm just going to lie and call this the back view. Then I'm going to call this the left view. And that last one, I was hoping I could generate the inside of something, but just go ahead and download that. I don't know if it downloaded properly that last time. And then we're going to load that in somewhere. Go to back to Marble, and we're going to load that in. Oh yeah, it says you can add up to 4 images, so that answers that. There we go. And then we'll load this interior shot, and we're just going to call that the right view. So let's just see what happens. If it's given, whoa, it's done. The first one's done. Let's take a look. Emerald City. All right, the moment of truth. Wow. Wow. Oh my God. I mean, this is already pretty fantastic, friends. It's a little dark in some areas, not gonna lie, but this looks really good. Let's hold shift and zoom out. Wow. Wow, look at all that information it generated from that single image. So I'm really curious if that 4 images is gonna help it. I have a feeling it is gonna help it a lot, but I love this. Like, you have like all those different nuanced areas, and you can see all the details in the sides here. There is an editor I haven't really used. They have a studio. I haven't tried that yet. They also have let me see what happens. I've never tried studio yet. We might as well. We're here. Okay, so it looks like, okay, that's cool. You can change the clip height, so you can erase details from the splat. It also looks like, okay, it has a world center. That's kind of cool. So that's where it's going to load in After Effects. It's going to load right in from that middle zone, right there, that kind of intersection. Love how you have these little side corridors. I mean, this is remarkable that you can do this. And then what is this? Brush select, shape. Okay, so you can select stuff Wow, I think you can make edits. I think you can edit the Gaussian splat like an in painting. We can explore that later, but that's pretty remarkable. What's this button do? Upgrade plan, that's your credits, that's manage account. Okay, what's this button do? That's your move tool, that's return to origin. What's this? Oh, it's the size of the brush. What is this? Record. Oh, no way. You can record, wait, this is awesome. There's keyframes. Holy crap. No freaking way. So I can set a keyframe. Can I set one here? No freaking way. You can literally make videos right inside their tool. Do you see that? Snap to view. Wait, how do I snap to view? How do I lock the camera? What is this button? Enhance, export, snap to view. Wow, so you can actually export video in here. I didn't know that. And then and there's just a regular view option. So you have the ability to record. That's really cool. So look at that, friends. I animated that camera. I gave 2 keyframes, and then this is the thing it plays back. So that was the, you could previs right in there. Wow, that's really nice. Okay, what I'm gonna do though is go back to my view tool, just regular old viewing, and take it out of the studio project, go back to my editor, and then what I'm gonna do is just download the Gaussian splat. So I hit the download button, and then I was telling you I like to use the, I think I do the splats PLY file. If that one doesn't work, then I'll try one of the other ones, but I think this is the one that works with After Effects really well. And I'll save that as Emerald City, and save. Great. All right, so that Emerald City is saved. Now I'm going to show you how I bring that into Adobe After Effects. Let's do it. So we're in After Effects, and first thing we're going to do is bring in my footage that we captured. I think it was of this shot. I don't know where it is. Image 1219. Is it in downloads? I don't know where I saved that image. Let me just go to recent and then just load it from there. Great, I'm just gonna load that in. And I'm gonna make a new composition from selection. We'll zoom out of it. So that's the original footage that we're gonna be working on today. Now to load this in, you need that plugin by iRealix. To get it started, you wanna import your PLY file into the After Effects. So we're going to do Command I to import. And then I'm going to grab that Emerald City PLY file. It's like a point cloud kind of format. It's a really interesting format. You can see like this is what it looks like loaded into the preview in macOS. So it's a very, very interesting file format. It's kind of like pixels. It's almost like voxels meets a point cloud meets a wireframe. That's kind of what the data is. And then, we got a question from Ben, says, what's it captured with Meta Glasses? Yes, I wanted to be really futuristic. So yes, this was captured with the Meta Glasses, the camera footage. Okay, so I'm gonna import that PLY file, and there it is. Then we're gonna drag it right into the composition, and it looks like this gray cube. If that appears, then you're good. That's the first step. Next is to load the plugin by iRealix. So I already have the plugin, but if you don't have it, now's the time to screenshot. This is the tool. It's called Gaussian Splatting. That's the name of the plugin, so feel free to screenshot. And then the person you can get it from is called iRealix, spelled IRREALIX. That's the thing. Great. So after you have that plugin installed, you'll go up to the top where it says Effects and scroll to the very bottom. And you'll have a new tab in here called iRealix, only if you pay for their plugin. And then there is their plugin that is called Gaussian Splatting. Click it. Great. This is the plugin. It gives you the ability to load, let me move the mic, gives you the ability to load up to 10 Gaussian splats, and you can modify anything in their parameters there. And so what we do is we go to model 1, and we select the model, and it won't appear unless you've done that first step where you drag that PLY file into your composition. That's why I can see it as an option, as the emeraldcity.ply. If we didn't drag this into the composition, you wouldn't see anything there and it wouldn't work. So make sure you drag your PLY file into After Effects in the composition and then select it. And then immediately, you now have your Gaussian splat. It's in there. Now, if you don't see it, we gotta make some tweaks. So the first thing we gotta tweak is the crop and the alignment. So I'm gonna go to the options over here, and I don't really have a science to this yet. I just kind of play around with the settings until I start to see my splat. And then once it's there, you can start tweaking it and making cool animations. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go to the Gaussian splat. I'm going to the alignment options, and let's see, I'm playing with the scale. Oh, it looks like that was the splat. Okay, so if you're having this issue, like I am, maybe make a solid first so it fills the entire frame, and then apply the effect to the solid, not a random spot. So I'm going to copy the Gaussian splatting, delete it, make a new solid that fills the entire screen with black. Now I'm going to apply the effect to that. There we go. So now the Gaussian splat is in the scene. And we can hide, in the timeline, you can hide the original PLY file, because now we're just going to work off of the black solid that has the data in it. And so I go to the alignment options and play with that scale. There we go. So now we can scale it up. There we go. So now we're in. And so these are all the kind of controls you have. There's quite a lot. In a nutshell, let me see if I can zoom in even further for you. In a nutshell, you have the ability to play with the alignment, sure, the cropping of it, so you can animate the cropping to have a really cool volumetric effect. You have the ability to do effects like color grading. You can play with the displacement. You can have it swirl around and turn into almost like a particle storm. And then all these things are now options. And so we just gotta play. So let me listen to the audio and figure out when's the right time to bring the splat in.
This is a pretty environment, right? Check this out. I've now loaded in what's called a Gaussian splat using WorldLab.
Right there. So right there, when I do this gesture, when I push, right when I do that push gesture, I want to have the crop draw on, so it looks like it's loading. So let's go right there. So I'm gonna load the Gaussian splat, and actually the other thing I need to do is I need to 3D track the scene. So grab your footage, and then in the effects and presets, it's called 3D Camera Tracker. And you're going to apply this to your original footage. I shot this footage on the Oakley Meta smart glasses, and hopefully it tracks really nicely. It goes through and it essentially just tries to understand what the camera was physically doing in space. And it goes through and analyzes the frames. Now, this timing can be dependent on however complicated your shot was, or how many frames it has to analyze. So while it's doing that, we're gonna go back into Marble and see how the other one loaded up. So keep in mind, this first splat, we only gave it a single image, right? We gave it this one image, and that was the splat we got. This one, we gave it 4 images. So let's see if the splat is different. It's loading. Okay, look at that. Yeah, it literally loaded all 4 splats, but it basically unified them as one world. Wow, this is actually far better. It's almost like 4 times the information was encoded in here. Now I see how it would work better if it's truly a front, back, left, and right view, but this actually worked pretty well. I think I can use this. That's really cool. So this is the technique. You can load in multiple Gaussian splats from different angles. And this gives you, just a lot more flexibility. I mean, this is like a really, really cool world. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this PLY file. We're gonna, again, load it as a PLY, splats.ply. I'm gonna save this to my downloads. Then we're gonna bring that into After Effects, The shot is almost done being tracked, so just give it a moment. I'll take a moment to answer some questions. Hello, good morning, welcome, happy Thanksgiving. Do you have any questions so far with what you're seeing? Again, we're using World Labs and Adobe After Effects to make some really cool visual effects. Yeah, I'll see. Actually, can I play? I think I have the ability to play a video of the effect on my phone screen so you can kind of see a full quality version of it. Maybe I should have done that earlier. I'm scrolling. Okay, here's what the result is. So that's what we're building. Yeah, so the question, can you repeat how you applied the PLY file to the solid? Have you tried the World Labs meshing? I have not yet. So let me answer that second question first. The World Labs meshing lets you actually 3D model even blocks. You can do like a rough blockage. You could put like cylinders and cubes and triangles and planes, almost like a 3D previs shot, a pre-visualization. And you can load that in along with your images, and it will try to adhere to your volumes. So this is going to be really good if you have to have a very precise environment and you don't want the AI to hallucinate. You can 3D model manually, traditionally, classically, artistically first, and then load in that mesh with the Gaussian splatting, and it will use that to inform the volume. Now the other question in there was, can you repeat how you applied the PLY file? Sure. I'm going to do it again to this next file, so I'll repeat it out as we do it live there. So let's take a look. Is the shot done being tracked? I think it is. So we can load it up. So when the shot is done being tracked, what you'll get are these little targets. I'm going to make them really large. So these targets, also known as image trackers, are essentially the successfully tracked points. Now, if I were to, for example, drop the opacity of the footage, oh, does that hide the, there we go. See if I can, oh, sorry, that's a bad example. I thought I was gonna be able to see the track points over it. That didn't work. But you can kind of see it, right? You can see all these colorful dots. These things are all of these successfully tracked shots. So when you have this data, you can grab any 3 points, and that creates a plane, because you need 3 points to create a plane. And then we can set the plane of like what our environment is, and then that will allow us to physically walk through the Gaussian splat.
This is a pretty beautiful environment, right?
So let's do that. So I'm going to mute my voice on that one real quick. So I'm going to grab some points that I think are the most relevant to this effect. I think something in between the far distances and the close distances would be a good one. So something like that might be a really good plane to track right there. Perfect. And now I'm going to click on the plane, and I like to do, I like to set the ground plane in origin. This kind of tells the camera where is the world. And then I like to create a solid and a camera. And with that solid, we can now turn off the track points. Might take a second to load. And now, look at this. You essentially have this object that lives in the scene. That pink panel lives attached in the footage. It's almost like it's in the scene. That's because we've tracked all the points and we know where all the camera is. So with that, we can now turn on our solid, and we are now going to be able to walk through that Gaussian splat. And so you can see that Gaussian splat is that file. We're able to walk through it. So now it's just about aligning it to our footage. But since we're not going to use this one, and we want to kind of highlight how to do those steps again, we're going to load in a different Gaussian splat. So let me go ahead and delete this solid and delete that PLY file, because that was the old one. We have our footage tracked successfully now, so now we can actually work. I'm going to save my project at this point, because that's a good time to do that. Let's go ahead and import that PLY file. There's the new one, I think. Is this the new one? It's weird that it loads upside down, but yes, this looks like, is this new? I can't tell yet. This looks new. Okay, so I'm gonna load that PLY file. And the first thing you're gonna do is drag that PLY file into your After Effects composition. If it works correctly, you'll have this gray cube or gray square. Then we need to create a solid on a new layer in our hierarchy. So I'm gonna click on the timeline here and click a new solid. And we're gonna set the solid to the full screen. Then within that solid, we're going to apply the iRealix effect, Gaussian splatting. So I go to my effects panel, I go down to iRealix, and I apply the Gaussian splatting plugin. Finally, we go to the Gaussian splatting plugin, we go to Model 1, and we load in the correct Gaussian splat. That's the new one. Again, it's that PLY file, and we'll only see that there if we first drag that in. And we click on it, and now it's loaded up. And now the Gaussian splat is in the world. We can now hide the Gaussian splat PLY file from the timeline, just turn it off with the visibility. And we'll also hide that pink layer, and now we're just in the Gaussian splat, which is loaded way over there. So hopefully that answers the question. So Ben says, so you can track, bring into Blender, add 3D objects around your walking path, bring that mesh back into World Labs to have it to create objects around your path for better compositing. You got it. Maybe have to think about this. Yes, it's a super great workflow. Also, someone I feel like you should follow is Cuba, who just joined. They are also an incredible world builder. And if they haven't already, I guarantee they're gonna love using Gaussian splatting. I've learned a lot of metaverse techniques and 3D techniques from Cuba, K-U-B-A, that's in the live stream right here. I'm gonna go ahead and just pin them. Oh, can I? Oh, it looks like I can't pin people anymore. I used to, maybe remove that feature. All right, so let's now bring in that Gaussian splat, and I'm going to go to the alignment tool. First thing I'm gonna do is scale it up. I'm scaling it up, scaling it up, scaling it up. That's 1,000 times. Let's scale it up even more. That's 3,000 times. Let's scale it more. It's 5,000 times. There we go. So now we are inside that Gaussian splat. Take a look. When I play the camera, oh, it crashed. Let me hit the button again. I think I just need to let it load a little bit more into RAM. There we go. So now you can see that as I'm moving, that world is now there too. And you don't have to bring down the opacity on the solid. No, the whole solid is being used to render that information. But cool, so it looks like that worked. We're now in that world. And so we hit the alignment, and now we can start playing with the rotation. I'm gonna rotate on the Y-axis to kind of find a cool angle. I like this, that's kind of a cool spot. I think that's a cool angle. And now like walking, maybe, yeah, and then looks over to the left. Now the other thing I like to do is I want to bring my hands back into the footage because it helps the hands, I think, help ground the whole scene in the world. So to bring my hands in, this other technique I do is I make a copy of my footage. I turn off the 3D tracker on it, so it's just regular footage, just nothing crazy. Then we go to the first frame where you see the hands, which is kind of like here. I think here's a good spot. And I double click on this tool here. This is called the Roto Brush tool inside of Adobe After Effects. With it selected, we double click on the footage and it loads it up into this new section where we can now create a mask. And what we do is we simply draw in green everything that you want to draw masks around. And what's cool about Roto Brush is you can be very imprecise, like literally just drawing a stick figure over the parts that you want to track is enough. And then you hold Option and subtract areas that you do not want to mask. So I'm intentionally masking out these trees. I don't want to mask that, the space in between the hands, the grass. I'm just kind of marking those in red to let the AI know, don't track this stuff. We only want to track the hand. And I'm gonna do the same, and kind of erase any little blemishes. What's cool is you don't have to do this on every frame, you just have to do this on the first frame. Same idea with this hand, I kind of just draw a little green, and you can kind of see it doing it. I'm gonna use this red highlighter to kind of indicate. I'm just kind of drawing over the fingers that I do want it to track. And then we hit the minus on the areas that we don't want it to track. That is all we gotta do. And this is traditional VFX at this point. You know, I like to mix and match my AI workflows with traditional VFX workflows. That's kind of how I get the best results. It's always been a hybrid workflow. It's very rare that purely AI stuff that I make is perceived well and fun. But it's when I mix and match my traditional skills with my newer adaptive skills, that's where I think the real magic is. Great, so now that I've had these masks drawn and I've masked out my hands as closely as I think I need to for the first frames, and you can kind of zoom out and see that everything in red I don't want to track, and everything that's not in red I want to rotoscope. You now just click the freeze brush, and this will now go through every frame, and look at that, it's cutting out my hands from every single frame in my video. Now, when I film like this, I very intentionally try to not move my rotoscope too much. So if I were to move my hand, like for example, we lost the hand there. Oh, but it came back. I'll keep letting it track. But sometimes you'll like lose part of the hand or something, and that happens if there's too much motion blur. So if your hand like zooms across the screen like this, like I'm doing right now, it's very hard sometimes for an AI to track what's going on. But if the hand moves like this, it understands, you can kind of see a clear silhouette of my fingers as it's moving. And that's all you really need. So I intentionally will kind of put my hands out there, and it's okay to make some quick movements, but you want to land on movements that make your hand or whatever object you're trying to track have a clear silhouette. And so it's just processing. It's got a lot more clips to go through, so I'm just going to let it kind of process here. But this is a very key step in my process. It's like you want to put your hands on top of that footage so that it feels grounded in something. Because if you're going to, change the entire world, it might throw people off. I'm going to take a quick little coffee break while this is loading. So I'm just going to play the previous video so you get an idea of what the outcome is going to look like when it's done. But by this point, you should have a pretty good idea of how this effect was achieved. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna keep letting this run. It's just gonna take a little bit longer, and then we'll probably have to wrap up in like 3 minutes. So let's see, how long have we been live streaming for? I can't see the time. Oh, about 53 minutes, about an hour. So that's about good enough time to wrap it up. So yeah, you'll have to see the end results a little bit later, but I'll just keep letting it process in the meantime. Don't want to, but have to drop. Looking forward to the recording coming out. Oh yeah, I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit. We're just finishing up that rotoscope. Looks like it lost the hand right there, so I might have to re-rotoscope some parts, but it's a good first draft. Notice how when my hands leave the frame, that's when it tends to forget that the hand was being tracked. So if you when in doubt, try to keep your subjects in the frame the whole time, and that will allow the AI rotoscoping tool to keep your hands in track the whole time. But yeah. And I don't know if I'm liking the Emerald City as much, to be honest, so I might swap it out with something, but hopefully that Emerald City was informative. You can kind of see where that goes. And yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, this stream I'll post, and I think it will also live on YouTube afterwards. I have it set up so it should auto post my live stream to YouTube, so you can watch it there and pause it and figure out stuff, look at the transcript. All right, the rotoscope just finished. I just want to end with that. So there it is. There's the rotoscoped hands. And now that that's done, we can go back to our composition. And if this all worked out properly, we should now be able to have our hands live in front of the Gaussian splat data. So let's take a look. Did it work? It did. So now you can see how my hands are in front of the data. And this is so helpful because then it helps ground everything. But I do see that my fingers get lost a couple times, so I might have to go back and fix some stuff. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this. If you want to support me, you can subscribe to me here on Instagram, or just subscribe to my stuff and learn there. Thank you all so much for joining the live stream, and have a happy Thanksgiving. We're gonna be doing a lot more with this shot, like a ton more stuff. But that's just the start. It gives you the kind of the overall practice. And I think it gives you a pretty good understanding of how this technique works and why and how you would use this.
This roll doesn't work for you. Let's just switch it to kind of grab
So I'll do effects later, but I'll make it so that you can like switch all this information.
This roll doesn't work for you. Let's just switch it to kind of grab
But yeah, you get the idea.
Next one. Love it.
Thank you all so much for tuning in.
This roll doesn't work for you.
Again, have a happy Thanksgiving and have a creative and productive day. I'll see you all in the next one.
This
Bye-bye.
roll doesn't work for you. Let's just switch it to kind of grab it. Just kind of switch
Take
it to
care.
next one. Love it.
Thank you, Ben.
This roll doesn't work for
Thank you, Brad.
Let's just switch
Thank
it
you,
to
Carlos.
grab it. Just kind of switch next one.
Peace.
Love it. Love the details of it.